Mary, I'm wondering if you would like to come on and give us a little update on the STEM grants.
Sure, thanks Lynn, thanks very much. Folks, I have been kind of responding to requests to join the GLOW team, and hopefully people have managed to see that as they've come through, and have popped the resources in that Jane was talking about too, so hope you'll see them too. Yeah, just want to kind of obviously tell you a little about the STEM grants programme. I think Laura's got the slides, maybe she can pop them up. I can pop a wee link in. At the moment we have, thanks Laura, we have £200,000 available for STEM professional learning grants, and we have £200,000 available for STEM, for so numeracy, maths and for STEM grants. You'll see a wee QR code there on the screen. The round 4 is available live, and there's a link here that I'll just pop into the chat, and you should be able to find out a wee bit more about kind of guidance for them. So you can see we've got a kind of deadline of the 11th of May. And the application form is now live. So what we're really encouraging is schools and settings and community learning development, early learning and childcare, primary, secondary. Again, it's right across the kind of spectrum of sectors and settings, to be able to work with others in partnership, to think about your own professional learning needs and what professional learning you would feel would be appropriate for you. So again, additional support needs is something that so far has been underserved in the previous rounds 1, 2 and 3. So this round, in round 4, we're really keen to see practitioners and settings coming forwards together to say, actually we know what we want to be able to learn about together, to enhance our own knowledge and to benefit our learners, as we've heard this evening. So again, really keen. We have a number of engagement sessions coming up, and we'll pop the link into so that you can find out a bit more about that. And together with my colleagues Lynn, Laura and others in the STEM team, we're really keen to discuss with you some potential ideas for professional learning bids and to help you scope that together ahead of the deadline. So I'll pop in the links, but really keen to think about what you might be looking for your own professional learning in STEM, and to support you with that. So I'll pop in the links. Hopefully if you've got a QR code you can scan the details and you'll find them ahead of me popping the links in. But yeah, that's probably much all that I want to say, Lynn. Just, you know,
that's
really
great, Mary.
Support.
We have had a couple of ASN centres who did apply and were successful for grants in the last couple of years, as Mary says, quite underserved. But we are actually, and again, this is for your feedback at the end of this session, if you think it would be useful to hear from those grantees who were successful and used the grant money to develop some professional learning. One in Edinburgh was engineering at secondary level for ASN, and we've a couple of other ones on our books as well that we're quite happy to ask them to come along and share their story with you. That could possibly be one session after the summer. I know it's not much good to you just now if you're applying. I will just point out as well that the person that Jane mentioned earlier, Dr. Kirsty Ross, she's actually also based in Midlothian, and she actually was one of our successful grantees as well in the early years sector for developing STEM. So very much as Mary says, we're really looking for people to get involved with the STEM grants, especially across ASN, because it has been underserved, therefore stands a very good chance. We know today's been very science-based, mostly because I knew that Stephen and Rob and Jane linked together, so it made sense to have them all here together. But obviously the STEM is not just science-based, it is your technology, it is your engineering and it is your maths. So the STEM grants are for all of those, they're not a science-based grant scheme. It is very much for STEM, and we do have that lack again in engineering, which is perhaps something that somebody might feel that they also maybe want to develop some professional learning. As Mary said, there's the drop-in sessions. They're carrying on running up till the close of the grant applications, which is not that far away this year. So absolutely, please come along to those.
Lynn, I'm
using
just
the
going to
links.
pop in a wee link to the Abercorn, because Abercorn's a setting in Glasgow, and in previous round it worked with a number of settings across the kind of West Partnership, and they did created a kind of Google resource that covered all the different aspects of STEM for their learners, and it's obviously a digital resource, so I'll pop the link into that, the Google slide for that, and hopefully that'll be of use to people, maybe generate some ideas. But yeah, we're really keen to engage with you between now and 2 weeks tomorrow to support you with what you think would be helpful.
Yep, And just before we pass on to the next bit, I did notice in the chat there was the link in for the Young STEM Leaders programme, which again, very useful to run in your school or to work with another school who's actually running the STEM Leader programme and maybe want to have their young STEM leaders come in and help your learners. That link's also in the chat as well, and Mary's now put in the Abercrombie one as well. So again, as Mary said, we're very happy to help support applications for the grants from establishments. Jane, I see you've got your hand up.
Sorry, just to interrupt and say that I spoke to Jamie Menzies at CERC about the Young STEM Leader Programme very recently, and this summer we're hopefully, if we get the money we've applied for, going to run a pilot where older pupils with ASN will be working with academics from the university. So I think with these Young STEM Leader Programme to teach some STEM to some of the younger pupils in the school, I think there's a lot of scope for interesting collaboration using the Young STEM Leader Programme as a sort of nucleus around which to gather interested people from various organisations.
Yeah, absolutely.
And CERC and the Young STEM Leader Programme team are really interested in making it work for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Jane. Okay, so Laura, can I move back to you for what's next?
Yep, perfect. I'm just going to go to the next slide if it will move on. That's on a go slow now. I'll just wait for that to catch up. But basically what we were thinking was today obviously has been a really quick whistle-stop tour and introduction to all of these amazing possibilities and things, experience that people have. And Lynn and I and Mary are really conscious that we are not experts in the ASN field. However, we recognise that there's an ask and a want and a desire to have such a network to come together to be able to get CLPL. And when we started initially just with the small raise ASN network, people kept giving the same feedback of we really want bespoke CLPL, we really want bespoke resources rather than always adapting what already exists. So what we're keen to find out from yourselves is what next, what would you like next? So this has been like an introductory session where we've got some information, but very short and very brief. Do you want to have more in-depth sessions from our speakers and presenters that have been here this evening? Are you looking for maybe, like Lynn mentioned earlier, STEM isn't just about science, so would you like to have some of the people from the Education Scotland digital team or the maths team come along, or the inclusion team come and present to yourselves? Do you want to have a space where you can network together to come up with resources that you can share? So basically right now it's a lot of questions of what would you like and what can we do to support that so that we can put a plan together over the summer to have something in place for next session. And we're really keen to make sure that it's right for you, but we're also conscious that we're not here to tell you what that should be. You need to tell us so that we can make sure that what we can provide and support with is bespoke to your needs. So that's me, Lynn. I'll pass back to you and I'll try and move to the next slide. I don't know why it's not working.
Jane, I'll come back to you in just a wee second, just to mention that our next session next week, we've got Paul Nisbet from Call Scotland coming along, and I think he's going to maybe speak a bit about dyscalculia. And we've got Fran Hutchison from Dynamic Earth, and we've also got a number of people. Our main one is the DYW group from Edinburgh who are working with ASN, but they have now put us in touch with ASN and DYW across the country. So we're hoping some of them might pop along as well, and they are very keen to engage with the ASN learners as well. So that's what's going to happen next week. But it's as Laura said, it's what's going to happen after the summer. That's what we need to find out.